All right, today we're diving into something pretty amazing. We're going to look at how a truly revolutionary technology is uncovering the ghost footprint of one of history's greatest and, as it turns out, most invisible empires.
You know, for centuries, when we pictured ancient Persia, we thought of these majestic ruins, right? Places like Persepolis, these incredible but kind of lonely palaces just sitting out in these vast empty plains. But here's the thing. What if that emptiness was just a total illusion?
Yeah, this quote really nails the long-held belief. The idea was that these were just ceremonial capitals, places for a king and his court to visit, not to live. But as we're about to find out, that whole story, it's being completely overturned.
Okay, so first, let's dig into that traditional view of the ancient Persian landscape, this idea of emptiness, which, spoiler alert, we now know is just completely wrong.
So, the prevailing narrative was that the world's first true superpower was ruled from horseback. You've got this nomadic court that basically just, camped out in these giant stone palaces for a bit and then moved on. It's a really powerful image for sure, but it left out the most important part of the whole story, the actual cities.
So what changed everything? Well, it's all thanks to a groundbreaking piece of tech that's letting us, for the first time, see right through the dust of millennia and finally find those lost cities.
It's called LiDAR, and you can basically think of it like a giant X-ray machine in the sky. It digitally strips away all the stuff that's built up over thousands of years, the trees, the soil, all the sediment, to reveal the hidden shapes of what's lying just beneath our feet.
And this process is so incredibly precise, it can actually detect what archaeologists call the negative space of history. We're talking about the faint, totally invisible outlines of ancient streets, forgotten canals, and even the foundations of entire neighborhoods. Stuff you'd never, ever see just by looking.
Okay, so let's put this tech to the test. We're going to start with the very first Persian Empire, the Achaemenids, and go straight to the capital of its legendary founder, Cyrus the Great.
And the contrast here is just wow. It's stunning. To the naked eye, the site of Pasargadae today looks like a few lonely monuments sitting in a big empty park. But when they fired up the LiDAR, it revealed a truth that changes everything. This wasn't some isolated palace, it was a massive, sprawling metropolis. But here's the cool part. It wasn't a city like you or I might picture. The Persians actually invented this totally unique and sustainable form of urbanism, what experts are calling a garden city. It integrated nature directly into city life, blurring the lines between the two. This just completely flips the script on the traditional Western idea of a city, with cramped streets and big walls. Now, you might be thinking, how do you have a massive garden city in a semi-arid region, right? Well, you can't. Not without some absolute genius-level engineering. And believe me, what the scans found next is just stunning.
It turns out the Achaemenids weren't just incredible conquerors, they were master terraformers. LiDAR uncovered this entire invisible infrastructure of dams and a super sophisticated network of canals that literally turned the whole plain into a man-made oasis. They weren't just living on the land, they were engineering the very earth beneath them.
All right, let's jump forward a few centuries to the next great Persian dynasty, the Sassanian Empire, because this is where we see that incredible talent for planning evolve into something even more monumental and almost obsessively precise.
So, the whole philosophy of city building, it shifts dramatically. Instead of integrating with nature, like the garden cities did, the Sassanians decided to impose mathematical order on the landscape. They were building with a precision that is, frankly, almost terrifying. And the city of Gur is the perfect example of this. It was planned as a perfect circle from day one. It was divided into these precise, radiating sectors, with concentric zones for different social classes, the elite in the middle, artisans on the outside. A layout like this is proof of a highly centralized, powerful bureaucracy. It just completely shatters that old view of them as disorganized feudal states.
Okay, now get this. LiDAR analysis of a structure called the Great Wall of Gorgon. Well, it revealed an ancient mega-project that absolutely dwarfs one of Rome's most famous constructions, Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah, you heard that right. More than 30. That's how many forts LiDAR has now identified along the Great Wall of Gorgon. And here's the crucial point. This thing wasn't just a wall, it was basically a continuous military city, stretching for almost 200 kilometers. And the scans even found the whole supply chain behind it. We can now actually see the ghost footprints of massive brick kilns, entire cities built just for the workers, and canals dug for one reason, to transport water to build the wall and supply the army. It was a full-blown military-industrial complex, but on an ancient scale.
So what does all this mean? It means these discoveries are forcing us to literally redraw the map of ancient Persia. We have to rethink our entire understanding of this empire.
And this technology is revealing way more than just cities and walls. It's actually uncovering the empire's economic engine. LiDAR has identified these long chains of ancient roadside inns, or caravanserai, and get this, they're spaced exactly one day's caravan journey apart. This proves the legendary Silk Road wasn't just some vague, dusty trail. It was a state-maintained highway system, as organized and planned out as our modern airport networks.
So this really forces a complete reevaluation, doesn't it? We are moving away from this old view of a nomadic warrior elite to a brand new reality, an empire of centralized master planners and brilliant geoengineers who built deep, permanent, and absolutely massive infrastructure.
Ultimately, what LiDAR is showing us is that so much of our history isn't just written in books. It's literally written into the Earth itself. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? How many other empty spaces on our maps are just like this, waiting for a beam of light to reveal their secrets? What other invisible empires are still out there?